Question of the day. At what point does production quality affect your enjoyment of a game? In fact, let's do it like this. What's the lowest production quality game that you absolutely love? And then conversely, what's the highest production quality game that you absolutely hate? Let me know in the comments below, because I'm curious about those two kind of splits and those dichotomies. Because I love theme, I love production quality, but what is your favorite game with low production quality, and what's your least favorite game with excellent production quality? Because today brings us to an interesting question, talking about a game called Arkham Ritual. Now, interestingly enough, it is in fact about the Arkham, Lovecraftian universe, but the only two times we use the word Arkham are to refer to Batman, Arkham Asylum, which is also named for this Arkham from Lovecraft. But I do like the interesting thing, the font here looks like it's from Batman, while this is definitely from the Lovecraft universe. But this is a deductive card game, all about trying to figure out what card hopefully you have at the end of the round. The person with the most, or person who doesn't lose the sanity the fastest at the end of the game wins the game. So let's take a look right now at Arkham Ritual. So essentially the game is played in rounds and turns. You start with 7 sanity, and if you lose all your sanity, you lose the game. You can also do an advanced version where you have more sanity. Now, ideally, there are a couple of these cards that you're going to pick a few of at a time to use. So you would only ever have a wary student or an investigator in there. You would only ever have a mad professor or a cultist in there. But there are a lot of cards here that kind of do different things. The problem is there's nothing listed on the card. You have to go to the reference to see what they actually do. Some of these are artifacts, but at the end of the game, you're going to get a card and you never look at your card. That is kind of the main point of this, is you never look at your card at all. You hold it up facing the opponent. And you're essentially trying to figure out what you have and hopefully end up with a blue card at the end of the game, not a red card, because you'll lose your sanity if you get a red card. Now, some of the red cards, again, were things like the actual great old ones themselves, Hastur, Nyarlathotep, Yog-Sothoth, or Cthulhu. I guess these are technically the only great old ones, but that's okay. Then you have these gate cards, which if you have a gate, someone's holding a Cthulhu card or one of the red cards with the old ones on it, it opens a portal to them. Some of them change the way that you win or lose, like the cultist will change the way that you actually win or lose. The way these artifacts work, if you have an artifact, a blue artifact, and you're the only one with it, you don't lose your sanity. However, if you have a grimoire and someone else has another grimoire, you don't have a unique one, therefore you will lose your sanity there. You don't complete the ritual correctly. So ideally, you're trying to make sure that the card in your hand will allow you to keep your sanity while hopefully causing everyone else to lose their sanity. On your turn, you're going to draw the top card of the deck. Now, you won't be looking at your card. You'll be looking at just this card. You'll look at it, and then you pass it to someone else. Now, they can either take the card and keep it by discarding the one they're holding and keeping this card. They wouldn't look at it, obviously. Or they can choose to pass it to someone else. Ideally, you're trying to get cards in your hand that you will know will cause you to not lose sanity. But at the end of the round, once everyone has taken a card or said they're a follower, basically they're taking their hand off the table to where they can't be passed a card, the game round ends, check results, see who loses sanity, see who keeps their sanity. Game is played until everyone runs out of sanity. That is how you play Arkham Ritual. So that's Arkham Ritual. The question of the day was about production quality, and here's why. I really feel like this one, it gets hurt from the production quality. I mean, the copy I have is it's missing a few components and things like that. Not because I lost them, but because when I opened the box, they just weren't in it. The paper mat is kind of flimsy. I don't think you need that. The box itself, I do like. I like the art on the box. I thought they did a good job with that, but it seems like that's where it stops. I mean, some of the art on the cards is okay. It looks like it's not bad, but it's just kind of there. And the only reason I hit this is because there are so many Lovecraftian games out there, right? This is the one theme that people just bash a lot now. It used to be zombies and things like that, but now this is the theme that people go, oh, we have too many of these themes. Let's get rid of it. Let's do some more creative themes and not go back to the Lovecraftian well, right? Well, I get it. Perhaps the designer loves Lovecraft like I do. I get that. I understand where that comes from. But then you go, okay, at what point is this, hey, I have an idea for a game, let's put the Lovecraft theme on it, or hey, what game in the Lovecraft theme could we do? Because honestly, this whole Arkham ritual thing doesn't make sense in what you're doing. I mean, you're saying, oh, I am an investigator, or I have a dagger, or I opened a gate to Cthulhu. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't really make sense thematically. And I know you shouldn't hit a game completely when it's not meant to be a high theme game. It's meant to be a deductive card game, but something about that matters to me, that you should, in this one it bothers me because it doesn't really make sense at all. Now there are other examples of this where it's just like, oh yeah, it's Lovecraft. But this just doesn't, like, this could have been, it feels like love letter, right? It feels like love letter in reverse, like chainmail or hate letters. I don't know what we call it, but it feels like, okay, I'm just trying to determine what card I have, and hopefully I'll have the only blue card that doesn't match somebody else's blue card, or if it's an artifact, or I'll have a blue card that does a good benefit, but I won't have a red card, or if there's a cultist, hopefully I'll have this, right? It's more like you're deducing it, but you don't really ever have enough information to know what your card is, or even really deduce it that well. You can kind of just, really, you're more trying to attack other players or give them cards to force them to have bad cards, but at the end of the day, you're never really sure of what you're holding. So I could be holding a red card and playing the cards just right and giving them to other people where hopefully they'll pick it up based on what I have, but you still, at the end of the day, never really ever figure it out. And maybe I'm just a moron, but it just doesn't work. So I hate to beat this one up because I do love the box art. I think this is a fantastic box art. I love the font. It has that Batman-looking Arkham Asylum sort of font, but also Lovecraftian at the same time. So it really does a lot for me font-wise. I'm a big font guy, big production detail guys, but when you dive into the game art's not that great. The game mechanics just fall flat from me. They don't really work. It's kind of like, there was another game, Subtext. It didn't work. Right? Like what it was supposed to do, it did not work when it got to the table. Versus, oh, I just didn't like these mechanics. The mechanics themselves just didn't seem to do or accomplish the goal of what the instructions and everything set out to say they were going to do. So this is a big pass for me. Definitely not a fan of this one. I hate that because I like the theme. I like the art on the front of the box, but once you open that box, it's just, no, just leave the box closed in my opinion. So I hate being like that, but that is Arkham Ritual. So I'm Bryan Drake here on the Dice Tower. Make sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, etc. at Dice Tower Bryan. Until next time, we'll see you.
Thanks so much for watching another Dice Tower video. If you enjoy our videos, subscribe to the channel for more fun, comprehensive board game coverage. Also, consider joining us at one of our events. Come to Dice Tower Retreat, a small, intimate gathering where gaming is king. Join us for Dice Tower Cruise, the largest board game cruise. Attend Dice Tower West in Las Vegas, for gaming fun on the West Coast, or Dice Tower East in Orlando, in sunny Florida. Dice Tower Conventions, the friendliest gaming conventions on Earth. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.